I used to think destiny was just a romantic idea, something people said when things happened to fall into place perfectly, like they were meant to be. For years, I convinced myself that if two people were meant to be together, everything would just work out effortlessly. And if it didn't, well, that must have meant the universe was telling me something else. But the truth is, there's one little secret that no one really talks about when it comes to whether two people are truly destined to be together. It's not just chemistry or timing, or even those cheesy signs people look for. It's something a lot deeper and more precise. Something I only discovered after diving into astrology and personal growth, and it completely flipped my understanding of relationships on its head. If you want to learn the one thing that always appears in the charts of people who are meant to be, which can change how you see love and connection forever, stick with me, because this is what I found out. The crazy part is that this one thing isn't some mystical force out there controlling your fate. It's an alignment, a pattern that reveals the universal way two souls interact and grow together. I know it sounds a little out there, but hear me out. At first, I was skeptical. I used to look at astrology as just fun horoscopes or personality types. But then I started studying birth charts for myself and some of the closest relationships in my life, my best friend, my ex, my current partner, and I noticed something. Even when everything else in the charts was wildly different, there was one consistent element present every single time when two people felt destined to be. That element is the strong connection between their moon signs. Now, if you don't know much about astrology, the moon isn't just about emotions. It represents your inner world, your vulnerabilities, your subconscious needs, the parts of you might not even fully understand. When two people have their moons aligned or forming a supportive aspect, it's like their emotional cores are speaking the same language before the words even come out. That kind of deep emotional resonance can't be faked or forced. I remember one time I was struggling in a relationship where the communication was great, the chemistry sizzling, but I always felt this weird disconnection emotionally. When I eventually got our charts done, our moons were completely out of sync, almost like oil and water. Everything clicked when I read about how crucial moon compatibility is for emotional harmony. That's when I discovered that the moon connection is this invisible thread telling stories about how two people nurture each other, how safe they feel sharing their authentic selves, and how their emotional needs sync up. Here's the thing. I used to think that if the relationship had great conversation or shared interests, that was enough. But the moon connection goes much deeper and explains why some relationships just feel like home even in silence, and others leave you emotionally exhausted. The challenge is that you won't always feel the moon vibe consciously at first. It's subtle, like a quiet rhythm in your gut, but once you start noticing it, you begin recognizing why you crave certain people and feel naturally drawn to them emotionally. Science backs this up in a way too. Studies in psychology show that emotional attunement and empathy are essential foundations for lasting relationships. Imagine the moon connection as two hearts tuned to the same frequency, making it easier to decode each other's emotional signals without misunderstanding or judgment. Try this now. If you're curious, look up your moon sign and that of someone significant in your life and see if there's a harmonious aspect like a trine or sextile, or if they fall in the same element group, water with water, earth with earth. Notice how you feel when you're together or thinking about each other. But I want to be honest. Initially, even when I found this out, I resisted fully trusting it. I thought maybe it was just confirmation bias, or that it couldn't predict the messy realities of human emotions. The moment that changed everything was when I was going through a breakup that crushed me. I was devastated and kept wondering why. Despite all the signs pointing to a perfect match on paper, it still failed. That's when I learned that even if moon signs align, if other key planetary aspects like Venus or Mars are challenged, or if personal growth isn't happening, the relationship can still struggle. But the moon connection acts like a foundation. Without it, the rest is just construction on sand. More importantly, Understanding this gave me clarity about what to look for in future relationships. Everything changed when I stopped forcing romantic love based on surface-level compatibility and started paying attention to emotional resonance on a deeper level. I want to share another story that really drove this home. I once met someone I thought was completely incompatible with me. Our careers were different. Our lifestyles clashed. We argued more than we agreed. Yet there was this inexplicable emotional comfort when we talked about our fears, hopes, and past hurts. It turns out our moons were in the same sign, which explained the natural empathy between us. Even when it wasn't romantic, I felt the power of moon connection bringing warmth and mutual understanding that was rare in my other relationships. That made me realize this connection transcends just romantic destiny. It shows up wherever deep, soul-level bonds exist, whether in friendship, family, or love. Here's the paradox. The moon also reveals your emotional wounds and triggers. So when two people are moon-aligned, it might awaken old baggage that needs healing instead of just comfort. I know that sounds scary, but here's why it's actually hopeful. This emotional triggering is how real growth happens in a relationship destined to last. It's like the moon is the flashlight shining on buried feeling you haven't dared face. Pretending those feelings don't exist only keeps you stuck repeating the same toxic patterns. If you truly want to know whether you're with the right person, ask yourself this. Do you feel safe being vulnerable with them? Not sometimes, but most of the time. Do your feelings, even the messy and uncomfortable ones, bring you closer rather than push you away? Because when the moon is in sync, you can tackle those emotional storms together. And that's where real destiny shows up. Not in perfect harmony, but in shared healing. Try this for 1 week. Journal about the emotions that come up when you're around that person you're wondering about. Do you feel understood or confused and alone? This reflection is a small step towards uncovering whether there's a moon connection supporting your union. Another surprising discovery I want to share is how timing plays into this moon connection. The moon moves quickly through the zodiac. It changes signs every 2.5 days. So, when two people meet during a phase where their moons are harmoniously aligned, there's something like a cosmic invitation for emotional bonding. I experienced this once on a trip where I briefly met someone, and even though it was just a few days, there was an instant, comforting familiarity that stuck with me. Later, I found out that our moons were not just compatible, but also making a beautiful aspect on that very week. This shifted how I see chance encounters. It's not just random. The universe sometimes hands you emotional opportunities designed by this lunar dance if you pay attention. That doesn't mean every meeting lasts forever, but it shows how our emotions are linked to something bigger, like a dance between energies waiting to be recognized. If you want to experiment, track when you meet new people and see if your moons were aligned at that time. You might be surprised how many of these chance connections harbor hidden potential. The last piece of this puzzle is what I call the moon compatibility mindset. When I realized that emotional resonance is the key to knowing if two people are destined to be, I stopped trying to change myself or others to force relationships that weren't emotionally nourishing. It freed me from the exhausting cycle of people-pleasing or trying to mold myself into someone else's ideal. Instead, I started honoring my own emotional needs, something I neglected for years because I thought love meant sacrifice first and foremost. But real love, I learned, starts with feeling emotionally safe and understood. The moon connection teaches you that. It's like having a compass for your heart, guiding you toward people who bring out your authentic emotional self without judgment. I want you to try this mindset shift today. Next time you feel drawn to someone, give priority to how emotionally attuned you feel with them beyond how they look, how they smell, or what they do. Ask yourself, am I safe here, really? Because that safety is the seed from which all lasting love grows. To wrap this up, understanding the moon connection as the one thing that always appears in the charts of people destined to be together transformed how I approach relationships. It broke down the illusion that love is just luck or timing and revealed the deeper emotional alignment that underpins true connection. If you take away one thing from this, let it be that emotional safety and resonance aren't just nice-to-haves, but essential signs of destiny meeting reality. Choose what resonates most for you today. Look up your moon sign, reflect on your emotional patterns, and observe who makes you feel truly seen and safe. That's your real guidance system for love. I'd love to know, have you ever felt that deep, emotional connection with someone where words weren't necessary and it just felt like home? Share your story in the comments because you're not alone in this, and your experience might just help someone else see their own truth.